Hi, it's Kalia Haltrali here, and today I want to take some time to talk about why 3 reasons why I love real estate investing. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. My first reason that I love real estate investing is because of the flexibility. Being in real estate full time does allow you to set your own schedule. So I'm able to set my own schedule and do work as I want to. So, like, let's say if today I only want to work from, uh, let's say, 10 to 2 or something like that. Basically, you're allowed to set your own schedule. So, Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday, I'm able to set my own schedule and do work as I see fit. So that's the biggest thing is being able to set your own schedule. Let's see, wrote down some notes here. Let's see. The next one I want to say is just being able to set your own income, which is also great. I love vacation rentals, even though a lot of people get into the flipping and doing short-term rentals. I mean, sorry, not short-term, but long-term rentals. I love vacation rentals. I find that vacation rentals generate pretty good income depending upon where you're located. I had gotten into vacation rentals when the market tanked in 2008. And so I manage my own. I also manage other people's vacation rentals. But vacation rentals generates decent income on a monthly basis. And so the thing about real estate is that, let's say you own a couple properties, you're generating money from that. You can also pick up other income or pick up more income. Let's say you have a real estate license, that's one way. Or if you're also like wholesaling real estate, those will be ways where you're working more. As an agent, you're working more on commission. So those are more lump sum payments, whereas vacation rentals and long-term rentals are more residual income. So that's where you're earning income, but you're not necessarily. Like let's say with vacation rentals, for example, I would charge people before they came. So that's income that you have generating. You have your calendar book. You know when people are going to send you money, and so it's just residual income. So you get that money even with regular rentals. You get people who pay you monthly. I've done like Section 8 rentals. I've done rooming houses. But the thing about those is that you're going to get your income unless somebody decides to move and they give you 30 days notice. You know that you're going to get paid. So I would say the biggest things about real estate is being able to almost predict your own income. If you know that you're going to have rentals, you know that you're going to maybe do some wholesaling. You can do some bird dogging if you have a real estate license. I mean, you can even make residual income by referring people to other agents. So, like, let's say you have a license, you can get referral fees from other agents by referring them clients. So, there's plenty of ways to generate income in real estate. And so, I like the passive income the best with the vacation rentals. The next one is that I feel that real estate has endless possibilities. So, the reason why I say this is because, when you first get in, a lot of times you're more so just focused on trying to learn and just trying to see if you can find a deal any way possible. But in real estate, it's possible to get into one deal. I mean, of course, everybody has their criteria. You may not be looking for that up front, but it's possible to get into a deal and get, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 60,000, 100,000. So it's possible to get to one deal and earn that amount of income off of one deal. Like I've seen even wholesale deals, for example, where somebody's made 60,000 off of one wholesale deal. That may not be the norm, but the possibilities are endless, depending upon the type of deals that you stumble upon. I know when I first got into real estate, I really didn't know what to expect. And I was just networking. I was meeting a lot of different people. And I have met these guys. This is when people first got into, in DC, for example, doing condo conversions. And I met these guys. They took like a 4-unit building. They did two-level units. And let's say they got the building for $90,000, but the amount they sold it for, I can't even remember right now. But let's say, they made probably over $500,000. So just being able to network with those type of people, that was not the type of people that I was exposed to when I was working my 9-to-5 job. On my 9-to-5, most people just worry about coming to work, paying bills, going home, and doing it all over again. Whereas in real estate, I feel like even though depending upon what level you're on, even if you're starting on a lower level, you have the opportunity to be able to meet people who are doing all types of deals. People could be doing like multi-million-dollar deals. I've met people doing multi-million-dollar deals. I mean, even I've met like celebrities, senators. I mean, I've met everybody through real estate. So that's why I say, in real estate, the sky's the limit. You never know who you're going to come across. And that's why really when you first get started, even though sometimes people are primarily worried about making money, the biggest thing is just being able to network and meet other people. And the more people that you meet, those opportunities come through meeting other people. So I would say that's one big thing as well. And so another thing that I like about real estate, again, I guess with this all put together, is that real estate's allowed me to travel because since leaving my job in 2003, I've been doing real estate the entire time, and I have done different aspects of real estate. Like I've done appraisal work, I've done flipping, I've done real estate sales, I've done training. So I've done like a lot of different aspects. But real estate also allowed me to be able to travel. I work for a real estate brokerage in West Africa. And so real estate has allowed me to do that because if I had worked a 9 to 5, there was no way that I was going to be able to travel to Africa for 6 months to go and work there. So, and I think too, it's kind of broadened my horizons as to what's available because I've met people like, let's say in West Africa and Senegal, for example, people are doing like big developments. So like, let's say here, for example, like in the States, for instance, I found that maybe sometimes people are not as accessible depending upon where you are. Like I'm in DC. So in DC, a lot of people come here because they want to, let's say they want to get into politics or all these other reasons. And so everybody's pretty much busy with their own things and trying to create their own name. So sometimes being able to access people is maybe not as easy because people are just more so thinking about themselves and how they're going to, expand their own business. But for example, like when I went to Africa, like I was able to meet like the first estate developer in the Gambia, and he's doing projects all through West Africa. So, there's people who are doing business, big business, like let's say building like multi-unit family buildings. Like I met one gentleman, for instance, he's renting to people who work for Samsung. These are their tenants. People who work for Samsung and LG just by renting out apartments. They take good care of the apartments and they're making decent money. So I think that real estate has also just provided me the exposure to see like what's possible. So I mean, really that's primarily it, is the flexibility, the ability to create your own income through different income streams. And the possibilities are endless. So again, like I told you, you can come into big deals off of one deal versus like, a lot of little small deals, and also just the exposure to other people, other cultures. So that's why I like real estate. Does anybody have any questions? Maybe you would like to share some things. Oh, I see you said, what are some forms of networking? So networking for me is primarily going to meetings. I think that's, and really, it depends on where you're located. But for myself, for instance, I go to all types of meetings. So it may be like just any kind of meeting, really. I mean, it could be like a business meeting. Like let's say you have a small business association with where you live. It could be going to go network with people who are part of that small business association. So it doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. But through that, there's probably a lot of contractors, like home development contractors, home construction contractors that are part of that association. So just going to meetings, and that, I guess that's the thing too, is that, it depends upon what time these meetings are. Most of the time, these meetings are during the daytime. There are meetings for real estate investors. Like some people go to the real estate investor meetings where they live. And there you'll probably meet a lot of people who are probably just getting started like you. So there will probably be, some big investors there. But most investors who are really busy, I wouldn't say that they're that involved in these type of meetings. Most of them are involved in meetings where they're more government-related meetings. So like meetings that may affect their properties. So, okay, so how is, like, let's say where you live, how is it going to be developed? What's going on, like what's going to be developed here? Those are the meetings where you really want to go and network, where these big development companies are going to be hanging out. And normally those are where the investors are, because those are the people that are going to be affected by these developments. So those are the type of meetings really where you want to get into that. So Maria asked about how do I find funding? So most of my funding that I've gotten has come through other people. So I haven't necessarily, like there are, I'm sure most people have heard of like hard money loans. I consider them loan sharks. But those are people who give funding for like rehabs and things like that. They probably have a high interest rate. I've never dealt with them. I do know people who have dealt with them. and it didn't work out so nicely. Because with them, you will have to like personally guarantee it. And if the deal doesn't go right, they're going to come after you personally, and they're probably going to come after your company. But personally, I've come across my deals by being in the business. So I think I've shared my story. I don't know about this before, but when the market picked back up, I was looking to do rehabs. I found like a nice 4-unit building, or not 4 units, 4-level building, and I wanted to make it into 2-level condos. So what I did was, since I was in the business, I called people that I knew. I called everybody that I knew, and I told them that I wanted to develop this building, and I had the plans laid out, the projections, all these other things. I told people that I wanted to develop this building, and I needed some money. So I was trying to raise the money through people that I knew to be able to do this construction. Of course, people told me they were going to cut checks. When it came time to cut checks, nobody cut me a check. So I wasn't able to do that development project. I decided not to go through with it. But later on, I just stayed in the business, continued trying to look for deals, working, doing wholesaling, doing my agent sales. I just stayed in the business. And so then when 2000, actually that was 2000 and maybe that was 2009, I can't think. But then, okay, maybe this was 2011. But then I found another deal. And again, I put it out there. I was looking to do a group deal, put together the numbers. So I had went in and did my projections, how much I think people can make, how much I was looking to acquire the property for. And so that time I was able to cut checks. And that time people put up checks, and basically I even had to refund some of the money that people put up, because basically it was more of a limited partnership where people got returns based upon how much money they put into the deal. So I haven't necessarily dealt with a lot of traditional financing. So there are, people out here who provide traditional financing, people who are looking for like halal financing. Like Guidance is one company, they offer halal financing, non-interest financing. But with those companies, normally they do look at your credit, they're going to look at your income, they're going to look at your debt to income ratio. So those are the things they're looking at. But for myself, by just being in the business over time, and by people seeing that you are making money and you are being successful at what you're doing, then normally most people like to be in the business of making more money on their money. So in that situation, that's how I was able to, and some of these people that even put up money were people that I work with as engineers. So some of these people worked at the old company that I was at. So when people say you're making money, of course they got tired of let's say they had a 401k or whatever the case was. They wanted more money. So that's why they were willing to put into doing deals. So I would say just by being in the business is really where you're going to get money. Because if you look at it just from a smaller perspective, if you're not really being successful with what you're doing, or people haven't seen you do anything, why would they want to give you money to put into a deal to not know if they're going to get it back out? So that's the biggest thing that I would say. Look at even people who are hard money lenders, who are lending money to people to do deals. Of course, there's interest involved in that. But even for them, they normally want to see that somebody has done at least 3 deals on their own. So if you haven't done 3 deals on your own, then why would somebody want to give you money that they may not get back? So that's why you definitely have to start somewhere by just being in the business and starting to look for deals and things like that. So is there a need for big funding? See, with wholesaling, okay, so the question is there a need for big funding with wholesaling? So with wholesaling, no. Because with wholesaling, you're not getting any loans. The only time you really need money for wholesaling is if you're spending money on marketing. So let's say you're going to send out mailers to people. Of course, you got to pay the postage. You got to pay for the direct mail pieces. So with that, yes, you would have to put up money to pay the postal person and pay for the direct mail pieces that you're getting. Now, but if you're going to do cold calling, of course, you got to pay just the cost to use your cell phone. But there's no other cost in actually wholesaling until you get into making deposits with sellers. And that amount can be variable because, of course, you get into a contract with a seller. The seller could say, okay, yeah, I'm cool for $100. Or I'm cool if you pay it, once you bring in your person you're reassigning to, that's all in your contract. But it is possible, for instance, I met somebody one time, I was trying to do a wholesale deal. The person wanted $22,000. So in that instance, I just brought in the person who was going to take over the contract and let them put up the $22,000 because I wasn't going to put that up. So, with that, it's going to depend upon the seller. Everything is negotiable. And so they're saying, is there costs with attorney fees when it comes to So yes, the attorney is going to charge your typical settlement fee. So there will be not a transfer of recordation because you're not actually transferring the property. But if they have to do anything for you, Every attorney has their like fees, but maybe they may charge you a small amount, like could be like maybe $500, something like that. A fee that the attorney may charge, because again, they are going to hold the deposit for you. So like when your person comes in, they got to put up a deposit. They may do some extra documentation for you. So they may charge you for that. Like I said, it could be like $300, $400, $500. It depends upon the attorney. But it's not, the thing about the attorney fees with the escrow and going to settlement, that's normally due at settlement. So what they would do is in those situations, they take the money out of your proceeds. It's not necessarily like you're paying for it up front, unless you're telling them that you want them to draft you a wholesale document. Something like that will be outside of the scope of what you're doing. So if you have your own agreements and things like that you're using up front, then the only thing you're really using the attorney for is to facilitate the closing. And so in those situations, even for the buyer and the seller, the attorney takes those fees out of the settlement, out of the transfer of the funds and things like that when you go to settlement. So that's not money that's due up front. Hi, Lee. How are you? So does anybody have any other questions just about real estate investing in general? Like more so, well, I guess I went over more so my top 3 reasons that I love real estate investing. But if you have any other questions that you'd like to ask, you can go ahead and just drop it in the comments, and I'll go in and answer them. So thank you. I posted a question up top. Okay, so maybe there's a question that I missed. Oh, okay, I didn't see that one. Okay, so it says, do you look for vacation rentals the same way as wholesaling? And all the funds and experience necessary to start on vacation rentals. So vacation rentals is more so like if you're investing in long-term rentals, because with vacation rentals, it depends on how you want to go about it. But again, you're looking for rentals, or you're looking for properties that you can rent out. So of course with vacation rentals, you're more so just looking for certain locations where people want to come to. And like, so let's say for instance, like I'm in DC. So a lot of people like to come to DC during certain times of the year. So it has its travel season. And so I'm looking for properties that are normally like in close proximity to public transportation, because people like to get around. They like to go to the Smithsonian's and things like that. And so there's different ways about going about vacation rentals. And again, now, okay, you have your ownership side, and that will require you to basically purchase a property the same way you would purchase a regular rental. So of course you get your loan. You go purchase you a rental, where okay, well I can rent it for this amount as a regular rental, and this is what they're kind of going for vacation rentals by the night. So, that's your traditional way of going about it, is by getting a loan. The other way about going about it is, for instance, when I was getting started with vacation rentals, a lot of people I was looking for were on Craigslist. And I would just ask them, in this situation, really, I was asking them, I wanted to manage their properties for them. But I did have some people, like, for instance, I had one guy, he had a property, and he was in the military. And so what I did was I kind of partnered with him on his property. So it was basically his property. And also what I would do, too, is I would do the vacation rental side, but I would also rent people furniture. So I had a whole furniture rental business going on, which was a whole nother fiasco. But basically, I would look for people on Craigslist. I would ask them, and I would look for people in certain locations that I knew had like at least 3 bedrooms. Because a lot of times with vacation rentals, depending upon where you are, if you're in New York or somewhere, maybe that's a little bit different. But where I was at the time, this was before Airbnb, and a lot of people like to travel with their family. So they want to have a kitchen, and they want to have like more than 3 bedrooms. And I would just ask them if I could manage their unit. That's how I started off, where I would say, I had people come in. Are you open to doing a vacation rental? So people wanted to do a couple things with that. Either A, they just wanted me to guarantee what the rent was. So I was really prospecting people who had properties for rent at this time. And so what they would want to do is they would either want me to come in and pay rent to them, and then kind of like I would sublease it to my people who want a vacation rental. So that was one way to go about it. The second way to go about it was, so in that situation, you don't have to own the place, because again, you're just looking to lease it, and then you're going to sublease it. So you would need money to actually lease the place, probably charge you a security deposit or something like that. So you needed that. And the other way would be, let's say you want to do still the same thing, like, what am I trying to think the other way that I went about? Okay, well, this way I was actually partnering with people. So I did have some people where they needed some type of assistance. And so what I would do is partner with them on their rental doing a vacation rental. So I've had a couple of people where they would do a percentage. Like actually this one I think was 50-50. Because this guy, he was already renting his property to people, but maybe he wasn't filling up his place. And so he offered, like, where I had brought in certain furnitures and split it up, because I was doing an actual vacation rental where he was renting rooms. So he decided to partner with me on it. And so we did that for about a year. So, I mean, there's different ways to go about the vacation rental aspect. The reason why it's a little bit more profitable is because you get more by the night. Because one of the properties, for example, that I started renting out, I was doing it pretty cheap at one point. But I got to even up to charging like $300 and some per night. And I was doing about 20 nights out of the month. And so, like, you know, especially like if you're in a, like, let's say where I am, for instance, in DC, most people like to rent properties come January. But it's possible to even get like $8,000 in 1 month just doing vacation rentals. And so that's just one rental. I mean, again, too, if you're partnering with people, you're charging people for furniture. I was charging people, like, you know, if I had to go get the furniture, I would buy the furniture from a clearance center that was a rental company. And then I would just charge people, you know, by the month for the furniture. So all that starts to add up. And again, that was just for one unit. So if you're doing this for multiple units, it's possible to generate a lot more income for yourself. I haven't actually made a course about vacation rentals, but vacation rentals is definitely my niche, because really vacation rentals, you can do that anywhere in the world. So it doesn't necessarily have to be you know, any particular place. It just has to be a place where people like to visit. So it does have to be like a tourist destination, because if you do it somewhere where people don't want to visit, you know, it may be difficult for you to keep your rental filled. Okay, so does anyone else have any other questions? Let's see. Okay, well, if anyone else has any questions, if you can go ahead and just post them below. And what I'll do is, I'm getting ready to go for now, but what I'll do is I'll tune back in a little bit later, and I'll come in to answer any questions that you have. And again, if you're gaining value from these videos, please just make sure to invite others to the group, and also just share them with other people. Okay, bye-bye for now.